and welcome to Two Gray Goatees and a Whistle. I'm your host, Coach Huddy. Coach Gonzo is back in the studio.
Hello.
Yeah, and then I got Tanner chilling out at his house with his ET poster in the background. So
Patented.
there you go. Heck yeah. All right. Hey, so welcome back. This is going to be an episode that we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl a little bit. Like everybody knows, I'm a Seahawks fan. I didn't wear a cap today. I'm actually sporting Gooding baseball. So I want to wear this. Shout out to Carnegie, to Cameron, because he's the one that gave it to me at the game. It's crazy. I get more bling from the school I used to work at than the one I'm currently at.
Don't have to return it either.
Yeah, I don't have to return it either. Yeah. Anyway, so shout out to the baseball team. Hopefully things go well this year for their program. So anyways, today we're going to talk about the Super Bowl. And then after that, we're going to have a little conversation about career football players at the college level, if you want to call it that. So it'd be an interesting topic to talk about here. So let's go ahead and talk about the Seahawks. I watched the game. Tanner, did you watch the whole game?
I did watch the whole game.
So Tanner checked out the whole game. Nick or Gonzo?
I didn't. I fell asleep at halftime.
And I will have to say it was pretty slow going. If you're not a defensive minded coach at all, it was not like a barn burner, especially in that first half. It's like nothing really took off there until the midway through the third quarter, I guess. And then it kind of picked up a little bit. But
I just love twisting the knife a little bit more into the Viking fans that I talk to all the time.
Yeah, in case you guys just so you know, I got two Packer fans, diehards here. Actually, owners, I guess, share owners of the team. So they got probably a different take on it than other people would. But yeah, let's talk about it a little bit. So Seattle beat the New England Patriots 29-13, and where Seattle basically it was a defensive game, and I kind of thought that would be the case. We had Seattle has one of the top defenses. New England's got a really good defense too. I mean, that's really what's helped them get through some games too. So I really thought that's what was going to be. They got to May a bunch of times, forced turnovers, and really, I thought they played smart. I mean, they took field goals when they had to.
That's sort of jealous there.
I know Packer fans are probably wishing, man, I wish we had a kicker.
Like he made more field goals than our kicker did all season.
So yeah, Jason Meyer, he had a hell of a game. 5 field goals, set a record from the Super Bowl. Also broke a points record too, I believe, by a player through the whole season if you count playoffs and regular season. So he did outstanding. So, however, they gave the MVP to Walker. I know there was a lot. I know there was, I follow social media and the Seattle fans were kind of up in arms. They really thought it should have been Jason Meyer because, honestly, he's the one that, he gave us 12 points.
Can you give it to a kicker?
Well, apparently the NFL doesn't think so because he wasn't even up for a vote. Anybody got any thoughts on the game? Anything they want to share about it that they got a take on it or anything?
I mean, I've watched the whole thing. I felt like Kenneth Walker kind of, in my opinion, may not be popular. I thought he should get MVP. Just, watching the game, what some people called boring, it just didn't have the same star value, I guess, that some had hoped for. Like everyone expected JSN maybe to have a big game. He kind of got beat up. Drake May to have a big game. Maybe Stephon Diggs. But, you watch Kenneth Walker run the ball and kind of his control, his slow read, how he would run inside zone, bounce it outside and get 9. He's throughout his career kind of been, I don't want to say handcuffed, but sharing the load with Zach Charbonnet. Like it was definitely a cool thing to see him kind of get the rock that many times.
Where was Charbonnet in that game?
He was still injured.
He was.
Yeah, he pretty severe injury, I think a couple weeks before, right? ACL or Achilles.
Yeah. I think it was during the San Francisco game or something.
The other thing I would say is I think Kenneth Walker had like 135 yards, 140 yards. If that touchdown that he breaks doesn't get taken off the board, it's not even a question. He's got a touchdown. He's got 170, 180 yards against a really good New England defense.
Yep.
The other thing I would say is Christian Gonzalez, I was super impressed with,
Me too.
especially the slow motion cameras. You really could see how good his eyes are at batting the ball. So I felt
Yeah.
like those two, it was kind of like a say hello to NFL fans. And the part where it kind of fell down is Jason didn't have the huge game, and Drake May didn't
Yeah.
have the game to be like, this is a quarterback who's going to be a Burrow, Mahomes, Jackson. And
think he still
I
is,
just
though.
think that's what hurt the game. I do think Drake May is good. I think his O-line struggled, and part of that is how good the really old D-line for Seattle has been, but they had some young guys step up. But I think the stars of the game weren't the stars people were planning for or hoping for. So
Yeah, and
that's my thoughts.
no, and I agree. And I know, Tanner, you and I have talked about Walker, how, and you've made it earlier in the season. You're talking about how you thought Walker was kind of, not getting as much of the load. And I agree with you. And I know when his rookie year, he came out and he was like, wow, this kid's going to be pretty good. And then he's kind of hampered with the injuries and stuff like that. And then, Charbonnet comes on, and then Charbonnet is really talented running back. And so you had that, I guess, it's a good conflict to have where you have two good running backs where you can do multiple things. But having Charbonnet out kind of was a little bit of a blessing in disguise, I think, just because it allowed Kenneth Walker to really display what he can do, and him carrying that load. And it was a running game. It was really the pass defense. You brought up Christian Gonzalez, right? Yeah. Yeah, he was a U of O, I think. That's where he went to
Yes.
school. I think he's a U of
Oregon
O
product.
guy. Oregon product. And I remember, he was really well, and he was drafted high, and he got to put on a show, and he was locking down anybody he covered. There was a couple plays where if he wasn't there and didn't have the correct position on it and technique and get that hand placement, get the hand where he's supposed to, there's touchdowns or big plays made on at least 2 plays. And so that's the guy who stood out for me for the Patriots. That really stood out for me. And then, that front line of both teams for the Seahawks defense and New England's defense is pretty good. And that was a battle. That was fun to watch because I thought that Seattle's O-line obviously was just that much better, and they were able to give Darnold enough time. And Darnold did a really good job moving in the pocket. He didn't have to scramble a whole bunch, but he just these slight movements in the pocket that allowed him to just allow him that much more time to get the ball down the field. So I really, I just thought that Seattle offense didn't have to do a lot. They just did what they were supposed to do. When you do smash mouth football and you're able to run the ball, that wins the games right there.
BSU got even helped in the smash mouth football.
Yeah. Lonnie got some carries, which is great.
Yep.
Had 2 BSU products out there for Seattle.
And one for
yeah,
for the Patriots.
I think Patriots had one too. Yeah.
They had a U of I starter, I
So-
think, too. The Patriots did.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it was, U of I.
Oh, that's what it was, U of I. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of even some small college guys are out there. There's, I know Seattle has one of their backup safeties, Ty O'Connor or something. I think he was a Montana kid. Or there was a Montana State.
A couple North Dakota State guys.
North Dakota State for Seattle, their left guard and center. And then Shaheed, he's Weber State. Yeah, I thought, especially the Big Sky, just in general, how well it's represented. It seems like every year.
Yeah, it's got so excited. I saw on Facebook that Boise State and U of I are going to start their rivalry up again. And I'm like, oh, cool, but it's 2031 when they're doing it. I'm like,
Yeah, it's going to
so
be a few
stupid.
years
Why did
down
they
the
tell
road.
us now?
I guess they need, 4 or 5 years to get things lined out. So that would be interesting to see. I mean, we'll see how things
5
go
years
from
from now.
That would be nice. Any other thoughts on the Super Bowl? I thought it, obviously I'm happy they won. I don't care how they won, but they won. Anybody else got any thoughts on it? Packer fans?
I think the weirdest part for me is if you were doing a super early prediction of who's going to win it next year, outside of Seahawks fans, most people probably aren't picking these two teams, even though to me, Seattle's got the third most cap going into this year. They could basically re-sign everybody. And
Right.
I think Darnold proved, like you said, as maneuvering in the pocket, Darnold proved like he's going to play within himself. He didn't try to risk anything. You know, everyone always talks about you got to try to make that throw, but instead he made the right throw. Like, let me get 4 yards on first down as opposed to trying to get a touchdown here. And I think Seattle has a really good chance of repeating. And part of it's that cap space, but I don't think many people are picking these two teams for next year to win it.
So I thought it was crazy that Darnold's had 31 wins in the past 2 years as quarterback.
Yeah, he's really has been like the comeback story, being that he went through the ringers with the Jets, then Carolina, and then
Those other people that they're purple.
yeah, yeah, and then had a good season with Minnesota. Obviously, it didn't end like they thought. I mean, he had a bad game. I mean, it happens, but he's still learning. I think early on, yeah, he still had a lot of turnovers this year, but watching the games where he did have those turnovers, he was forcing stuff. And I think towards the latter end of the season, and especially in the playoffs, he didn't have any turnovers, but he wasn't forcing it. He was taking what they gave him, like Tanner brought up. You know, there's the 15-yard play, and he's like, no, that's not there. Here, let me check it down to the 4 or 5 yards, and let my guys do their thing. I mean, that's a win, and if they don't get it, if they have to punt, they don't get it. They have extremely, extremely, extremely talented punter.
Playing Aaron Rodgers football instead of Brett Favre football.
Yeah, I guess that's the way you can put it. That's a good analogy. But yeah, I really did think that, he played with it himself. And talking about the cap space, I mean, Snyder's done, holy crap, has he knocked it out of the park with draft picks and free agents. I mean, getting Lawrence, trading for Leonard Williams last year. His draft class has, or the past 3 or 4 draft classes have all contributed tremendously. Even the guys who were picked 5th, 6th, 7th round.
They're getting Shaheed.
Yeah, he was.
That was.
Yeah, signing him there around the trade deadline, that was huge. But yeah, that cap space, because they got a lot of guys that are going to be free agents. Walker's one of them. I know there's at least 5 or 6 other key players. Shaheed's one of them. That are going to be free agents. I don't think they're going to be able to keep everybody. It doesn't happen. But the fact that they have that much cap space, I think they can retool, rebuild. My biggest question is going to be the OC, because they lost their OC. Kubiak, I think, was very valuable this year. I don't think they really, I mean, considering what they had last year, and that guy was not cut out to be in the NFL. And I know he went back to college. But it'll be interesting to see who they get to be their OC. And to me, that'll be the key to the whole thing, is being able to find that right fit for their offense. Whether they bring in somebody from within or if they go outside. So, all right. Let's move on. Let's talk about the guy who got a doctorate in football. If you didn't know what we're talking about, we have a college player who is going to get his 9th year of college football eligibility. So his name is Solomon Tuliaupupu. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. He's a linebacker. He's going to be playing at University of Montana. NCAA has granted his 9th year, which we obviously know is a rarity. We've seen usually in the past, going back in the past, it was you have 4 years of playing time. A lot of times you get a 5th one because you could get a red shirt. Sometimes you would get a 6 if there was a medical, but usually anything. And then, but that usually was a 6. When COVID hit, obviously they decided to give everybody an extra year, which is understandable. I get it. But then, so you got these players that get 7, 8, 9 years. So this is not the only one that's ever happened to, but let's talk about it. So here is the timeline for Tuliaupupu and how he's got to where he's at. Okay. Just to let you know, he was in the same recruiting class as Micah Parsons. So yeah, and he was high. He was a 5-star. He was a 5-star athlete. He redshirted his freshman year at USC with a foot injury. 2019, 2020, he had to get surgery and knee issues kept him sidelined. 2021, he moved positions, saw limited action. 2022, finally saw some game time. He had 10 tackles, 2.5 sacks in 14 games. 2023, he missed the entire season with another injury. 2024, played 7 games before illness cut his season short. And 2025, he transferred to Montana, where he had a full season. And then 2026, he gets granted another year. Anybody know one of the reasons why this is being allowed? Anybody have any idea? Any thoughts before we get into this? Anybody want to make any assumptions or anything on this?
College football is desperate. Like, I think, they opened up that IL pool and people complain about how much players get paid. They can't really control that. I think it's junior college now. You can play 4 years of junior college. And then not only that, those 4 years don't count towards NCAA years. So it used to be if you played 2 years JUCO, it took away. Well, now that's gone. And for this particular instance, sounds like 3 years, he got a gray shirt, for injury. And then 1 year was because of COVID. So I think the justification they're saying is he didn't play 4 seasons. And I think it's all desperation to me. There's got to be a line that needs to be drawn, in my opinion.
Right. And I get that, but do you want to add to that take before I kind of tell you one of the reasons why it happened?
I just think, man, that many injuries, your body's trying to tell you something too, though.
It's true.
I don't know if I would want to go play that.
I mean, you really, really got to love the sport if you're working with body parts that are probably already yours. It's probably donated by some cadaver.
You like the Evil Knievel of football.
Evil Knievel of football. So let's talk about this. So a few reasons: medical waivers, the COVID we talked about, and the leniency, obviously, by the NCAA for players that have repeated injuries. Well, obviously, we think 9 years is too much. I don't think anybody's going to argue about. And then, I think we agree NCAA should tighten the eligibility rules. So should they? Am I getting from you guys that they should tighten the rules, or given circumstances like injuries, do we give that flexibility?
9 years is a lot.
It is. No, I'm not going to.
What is he, 27, 28 years old?
I mean, let's say he was 18, 19 when he came in.
27 or 28.
Yeah, he's a man. Yeah. Anything?
My thoughts are based from a high school point of view, like a high school coach, a high school AD point of view. If I have a kid that is working their tail off trying to go to college and we're allowing players to come back for 9 seasons, it's not helping my kid. So I personally think a red shirt is fine. 1 year to red shirt. I think a gray shirt is fine. I think if there's a second injury, then that's either got to burn a red shirt year or burn a regular year. I think 6 is the number. In my personal opinion, that would be a red shirt, a gray shirt, 4 years of playing. If you get injured 2 years in a row, then it's going to either burn your red shirt or burn a season. But it's hard for me to say, to a college coach, you don't want a 28-year-old former 5-star specimen to come get a 17-year-old from Gooding when it's this guy's been in your system for 3 years, or, like this example, he transferred. But I'm just saying it's hard as a coach to try to get high school kids opportunities when we keep giving these grown men chances. The guy's age is closer to my age than it is to a high school senior right now.
Yeah. So talking about some of the reasons. So I'm going to kind of tell you what's happened. So obviously, if you've been at college for 9 years, what should you have by then?
You should have a doctorate.
Doctorate. So
areas. One
of the considerations that the NCAA did take into consideration is that he has completed multiple bachelor's and master's. So I think one of the things is okay, you're in school. Obviously, you should be in school to get a degree. That should be ultimately be the goal. I know at the NCAA level, the higher schools, we know these guys are playing football. It's their job. And schools, for some of them, might be I mean, I'm not sure how tightly they follow their grades, but we know that, you know, if you're in college, you should be getting degrees. So what made his case so compelling, obviously, was the unfortunate injuries. I mean, it sucks. He got hurt, but I think looking at the fact that he got master's degrees, bachelor's degrees, you know, multiple degrees, I think that was one of the reasons why the NCAA said, okay, in the spirit of the rule, the player missed the season primarily due to injury or extraordinary circumstances. So it was basically not under any fault of his own, is why they did it. That's kind of
So is he taking a scholarship every year, you think?
I don't know. I honestly don't know if probably. I'm assuming
That would
he
be my
is.
guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you were talking about giving chances to this 28-year-old, give him another scholarship. That's taking away scholarships from freshmen.
Right. Like Tanner was saying. And that's the same thing when we talk about the transfer portal. It's even harder now for kids getting in, you know, because the transfer portal is now such a huge thing for recruiting. It's almost like it makes it that much more difficult for these kids out of high school to try to get into a Division I school.
Montana has probably less scholarships than
And they do.
USC and all that.
Yeah, because it's a step below. So I'm sure their scholarships aren't as many, I guess. But Montana probably with the NIL probably helps take some of that cost just for the simple fact that they got, you know, they probably got boosters. They probably got Montana has a pretty good tradition of football, so I'm sure there's some high rollers that can help with that cost, I guess. So, yeah.
But again, if you can do it, do it.
Yeah.
I mean, until they tell you you can't.
Right.
Sort of like Christian schools in, you know, when they go out and recruit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We always get mad, but I'm like, well, if I could do it, I'd do it if it's legal.
Yeah. I mean, Idaho, the private Christian schools don't have as much anymore. Not like Oregon. Oregon, Jesuit and Cascade Christian, Triad, they were the ones. Jesuit was notorious. I mean, they were one of the top teams because they were the bigger classification, and they'd pull people from the state of Washington. They would go across the river to Vancouver to recruit.
Well, you have a 1A school that's pulling from Klamath Falls, you know.
Yeah. And then Cascade Christian was another one. And I remember having this conversation at a coaching clinic in Portland. They were talking about how when you're a 2A school, which is a smaller school in Oregon, that because how the seasons run there, when the football season's done, it's, you know, you're usually pushing end of November when you're in the championship, the state championship or the semifinals. And then so your basketball program, usually most schools, especially you're not going to have a good portion of your players. So being able to practice and something like that. But for Cascade Christian, they were able to fudge their numbers somehow. They're able to be very competitive in football, go deep into playoff problems, and then still have a full roster for basketball and able to go compete. So there was a lot of questions getting brought up about Cascade Christian about, dude, what are you guys doing with your numbers and how you are able to do this being such a small school?
Well, Triad had a varsity JV and a freshman team and a 1A school that's supposed to cap it at 99.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's crazy for for that small a school.
Right. I don't know. Does Idaho have anything comparable to that?
I think down the road used to be.
Lighthouse used to, but something happened at Lighthouse. I don't know what's happened at Lighthouse. Because
I remember going to get film from Tony and seeing license plates from Boise all the way to Burley, you know, Cassia County. I mean, there are license plates in their parking lots from students all the way from those different places. And but nowadays, I mean, they had 6 girls on their high school team. So,
Tanner, what's your thoughts on, or what do you know about what happened with them?
So from my understanding of the Lighthouse Christian thing, so like local Idaho school, they were playing, I believe, our smallest classification due to enrollment, but they were in one of our bigger cities within the state of Idaho. So what the state did was they bumped them up to the larger of our small schools. So our small schools, for example, play 8-man football. They're in the larger classification of 8-man now, as opposed to that smaller classification. And that's where part of it has changed and shifted. I think the other part of it is the difficulty to go on in sports, most of your athletes now are sticking to the 2 big schools in that same city. And if they aren't going to go to those, they go to neighboring 11-man schools as far as football goes. I did coach against their basketball team that won a state championship, and they had 10 dudes dunking in layup lines for a summer basketball tournament.
right.
And
I remember
that's
that.
not normal in our classification size. And they were 2 classifications below us at that time. So
Yeah, I was
that
playing.
was
I
what
was
I
coaching
saw.
against them, and in
Yeah.
Hanson, I was coaching against them, and it was just crazy.
Yeah.
What they had.
Yeah, it's crazy though. Then because now it's like that, because their basketball programs. That's what they were known for. It was they had quality basketball
And the
programs,
football program.
and their football program was pretty good. But now it's
They don't
It's
even
been
have
hit and
a
miss,
they
and
didn't
so
have a
I
football
don't know.
team this year.
Oh, they
Yeah.
didn't.
Jeez, yeah.
No, they
And
canceled
they
their
and they had
football
their
season.
junior high
Yeah, their junior high last year was not bad.
wasn't bad. I think if
Yeah.
those kids stick with it and they stay in that school, I think they'll be back. They probably should have their program
Yeah,
back in the next couple years.
They'd be freshmen right now. Some of those kids.
They probably should be freshmen. Yeah. They're pretty freshmen. That are freshman 8th graders now right now.
They were pretty good.
They're decent players. So yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with that. So yeah. Okay, guys. We got one more segment. Anything else before we move on? All right. Let's talk about our mascot of the week. We're staying local. We're going to talk about the Idaho School of the Deaf and Blind, Raptors. Okay. Let's talk about the Raptors. Okay. A little bit on their history of their mascot.
It used to be the Redskins.
Used to be the Redskins. Nick would know this. Did you know that, Tanner? Did you know they were the Redskins before the Raptors?
I did know that.
I don't know if you
because
would
their
remember.
old
I mean, it
gym
was in the 90s.
had their old gym had a logo in the center of it.
Yeah. Where the rec center
the
is
rec
now.
gym.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, it's so kind of how this went about. And I remember Darcy talking about this too, because he was a superintendent for the school. But basically, what happened was it was in the 90s, and at that time, there became a more of awareness, I guess, in the late 80s, early 90s about Native American themed mascots. So they thought that the Redskins was probably not they should keep. I know that's it's another debate, and I don't want to get into the politics behind that, but. So they chose the Raptors. My understanding, because Toronto just got a franchise and they became the Raptors, and the Jurassic Park was really big and stuff like that around that. So they decided to be the Raptors. So I thought it was kind of interesting. So yeah, in the 90s, 1990, they've been the Raptors since.
My girls love their mascot, the guy that dresses up in the dinosaur uniform.
Oh yeah,
They were dancing with him after a game, and
oh,
it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and I think when we think of the word raptor, I guess it literally means Caesar, or one that takes. So accomplishments for their school. If you ever go around their gym, you can see some trophies and some of their athletic accomplishments. They were competitive back in the 40s and the 80s. Boys basketball team reached state tournament. Yeah. Kenny Anderson, he was
6'8", 6'9".
Yeah. He's a super nice guy. If you ever get to meet him. Same piece, multiple sports, volleyball, boys and girls basketball, track. They've even done wrestling. A lot of times they are co-oping with Gooding High School for athletics. I remember my first year kind of coaching in Gooding, we had a kid from the deaf and blind school, a DB. It was it Ward?
I can't remember.
I can't remember. Anyways, super nice kid. So that's all we got for this week's episode. So I want to thank Tanner for joining. I want to thank Coach Gonzo. I want to thank all the listeners. Like I said, our international ones.
And all my junior high and high school girls basketball players that listen to this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they made some comments about your pink hair, which you're not sporting anymore.
Nope.
So Lithuania. We got a steady listener from Lithuania. So I want to say shout out to our Lithuania listener. Again, our listeners in Singapore and Finland and here locally. I want to thank everybody. Again, that's all I got. Oh, do you want to tell everybody Savannah Bananas tickets are out?
Yay.
For K Club. We got ours.
We got ours for the 31st of July. I just to let everybody know that the golf fundraiser on May 2nd at Loveland's for the Special Olympics that's happening. That's coming up. I want to give a promo to that real quick. So that's happening. Tickets to play golf, those are all sold out.
They do have tickets for like a luncheon. I think that's going to be happening. They're going to have a drawing. I am working something out. I got to talk to the powers that be there for the fundraiser. I might be donating a couple tickets for the Bananas game, where you would be coming with me and Amanda to the game. So I got to get that worked out. So stay tuned. Anybody out there, especially if you're local and you plan on going to the fundraiser, there'll probably be some kind of drawing for some tickets to go to the Savannah Banana game. So that's it. That's all I got. Thanks a lot, Tanner, for showing up. I appreciate it. Thanks, Coach Gonzo.
See you later.
See you later, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.